pounds and 10 to 20 pounds. They go like that. And they have a tariff that will be posted for everybody to know. And they are going to put a cash register or different cash registers in the Port Authority. They get weight, and here's the amount. That cash register is linked to the weigh system, and there's a camera also. They run an interface cable that goes into that register system. So if you $300 is what will pop up on the register, and that is what that person needs to collect. $300, and then the cameras will see that $300 is being keyed on the register. Camera captures that, and it goes into their safe. So at the end of, I'm just giving one example. So if they do that for everything, all big stuff get paid at the bank. Smaller and minor and miscellaneous items get paid at the Port Authority, which is all tracked and collected in a computerized system, a register system. So at the end of the day, every morning when the Port Authority, the boss of the Port Authority goes in there, he has a responsibility by going through that computer system, pull all the information from that register to the back office system and reconcile it. It will show that this is how much they collected in money. He cannot tamper with it because he will not have any right to override the configuration of that computer. So he has to come up with that amount. He has to count that money. They count that money, and let's say yesterday they collected $1 million, or let's say $500,000 just from the Port Authority for small items. So that $500,000 will be in the computerized system, and that $500,000, that day, that managing director takes that money to the bank, make a deposit for that amount, and come with his receipt and file all of his receipts. So, and then do a computer report, like complete a report and submit it, which will be reflecting in Accountant General's office. Okay, so Accountant General's office is seeing every transaction that's happening at the Port Authority, all the money transactions. Now you have a reconciliations department that can see that, okay, on Monday, the Port Authority had this much, $3.5 million was deposited into their bank account. So we know that's there. They didn't go through anybody's hands. But at the Port Authority on Monday, they collected $500,000. They look at the bank account. Did the $500 make into the bank? Yes, check. If no, then that's where the question comes up. We're not waiting until a month or 2 or 3 years later to reconcile. That day, they pick up on the phone and call loss prevention. Loss prevention gets involved. They go and investigate. They can sit on cameras and check everything, because where that managing director counts money, there's camera in there. If he put anything in his briefcase or his pocket, cameras are catching it. In fact, before we even go to the reconciliation, before reconciliation people even catch that, the security center that's monitoring all these cameras 24 hours, 24/7, with screens that they can see all these departments, they will be should be able to communicate. And the next morning, if there's somebody putting money in the briefcase, the next morning they can show up there. Again, they are licensed to carry weapons. They are licensed to arrest people. They will be able to say, Mr. So-and-so, you're under arrest. For what?
Very good.
Well, this is what happened. They take that person, get the whole 9 yards, they prosecute him. If they have to put him in jail, the law says put him in jail, put him in jail. Put it on television, let the whole Gambia see that so-and-so was arrested from his office for taking $300,000 out of our coffers. This is how you set an example. You set such example for everything. Same thing at the airport. Same thing at, what is it called?
Across the board.
Yeah, GRA. Same thing everywhere that Gambia receives revenue. If it goes like this, we have an accountant general's office that's monitoring things. Reconciliations department is reconciling everything every day. And then even at the Port Authority, where they're doing all this, then the loss prevention is also, they're going to be mobile. They're going to have to give them motorcycles or vehicles to be able to travel to reconcile things. They will be able to unexpectedly show up at the airport, for example, and see that airport terminal, here's how much money that was collected. And according to our reports that they already have reports in their hands from the reconciliations department, they should go and say, according to our report, this is what was collected Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Monday, I need to see your bank deposit slips for that week. So say on a Friday, they go to the airport, they look at their file, get all the bank deposit slips. No excuse given to anybody. No excuse. We want results, okay? So we're going to eliminate excuses. There should be a file there that should have all the bank deposit slips. Even if they don't have it, we know that if it goes to the bank, it will be in the bank system. So we know that. But they're going to take out that report, that file, open and look at, okay, Monday, there was a $300,000 deposit. Yep, here's the deposit slip. The computer shows 300,000, check. Tuesday, 250,000. 250,000, it matched what the bank has in the system, check. 400,000 deposit here, they go like that day to day until Friday. The following week, when they come back, they start where they stop. So nothing is going to be missing. And that means all that money is going to the bank. This is how you take things out of people's hands and you force them to follow the law. And there's something in place that's going to really hold people accountable, because everybody's going to know loss prevention is watching. Big Brother is watching. So wherever you are, in every department, in every revenue department, Big Brother is watching. Cameras are watching. Loss prevention is the reconciliation department is reconciling every day. I think that they are short even a dollar, $1, they can question it that day.
Exactly.
Not 2 months later.
Exactly.
That day.
What's going on? Right.
If we do that, if Gambia does that, now you have all these human resource directors in place that are also making sure that, well, things are being followed and things are getting done according to the law, and no managing director can come and bring their person, their family member or relative and hide them anywhere, because human resources is going to
screen them.
Advertise job openings on Facebook, on television, and all the media outlets, so that they allow and give Gambian people a chance to apply for a job. And when they apply for it, they are the ones that are going to do the screening, process of elimination, narrow it down to the best 5 candidates, and call those for interview them. Out of the best 5, they bring the best 2 and say, managing director so-and-so, here are your best 2 candidates. So it's not the person that the managing director picked, it's the person who is most qualified to do the job. So that way that managing director can sit in that final interview, and they do a panel interview. The human resource director is here, human resource manager is here, managing director is here, the permanent secretary, whatever, whoever is there, 4 or 5 people sit and interview those 2, one at a time, and then it has to be a majority. At least if there are 5 people, 3 people need to agree that so-and-so has the best qualification. This is the person that fits the job criteria that we're looking for. And there are different ways to look at job criteria. You know, I have a system called PAR, past experience, accomplishments, and results. If you hire people and you look at their resume, but look at when you interview them as well, you want to find out about their past experience. What have they done in the past? What have they accomplished?
It's very important.
Was the result of those accomplishments? That will give you a good indication of somebody that's going to do the job right for you.
Exactly.
Somebody that's qualified to do the job. So if they have that, then you will see that nepotism is going to be faded out. Favoritism is going to go away, because you're not going to, nobody's, human resources is in charge of hiring. And they are the ones that are also going to say to any managing director that just want to is a girl that they want, and that girl doesn't want, so they want to fire that person. It's not going to happen. Human resources is going to say, no, that's not going to happen. It's against the law. What is the reason why you want to fire this person? Human resources has to be involved to make sure hiring and firing decisions are made correctly,
impartial,
according to the law.
Right.
Yep. So all of this, if you look at all of this, just to summarize, and I'll stop here. I'm talking too much.
That's okay. We a lot of information, and I'm pretty sure this is really helpful, because
sure. Yeah. So you have to plant those pillars to protect corruption. Because if you just want to go fight corruption, who are you going to fight? You're going to go straight to one person. What evidence do you have? But if you have all of these things in place, now you have security cameras. Cameras don't lie, okay? And you have data. We're going to go away from pen and paper to computerized system that is configured in a way that no managing director will have any authority or any right
to alter any information. Exactly.
Yep. They cannot touch anything. They cannot change anything.
And I also want to add, we have to really focus on paperless transactions instead, because I had President Barrow mention that one time. that we need to encourage, like paperless transaction and every go through the internet and then through the web. So that way everything is traceable, which is a great idea.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I said this last year or year before last too, in my forum when I talk. I released audios about this too. Paperless transaction is very, very, very important because it eliminates all this going back and forth there, and it eliminates money going into people's hands. You know, money is Satan. It gets too many. You got too much in your hand. People start to think about something else. This is how money goes diverted. If we go away from pen and paper and computerize everything, everything is now electronic transactions. That's the way to go forward for everything that Gambians want to buy or need to pay for. Anything Gambians pay for, they pay into our revenue, into our government. The government is collecting it, but we need to make sure government collects all of it, not half of it, not 3/4 or only quarter, and the rest go to somebody's pocket. Now it will be done computerized. That's why I said people need to go make your payment. If you have a container you need to clear at the bank, at the port, airport or seaport, you need to go straight to the bank and pay that money there. All you have to show is your receipt. That money is already in the bank. You just show your receipt and you'll be able to take your stuff out, and nobody has access to that.
Right. So thank you so much for that, Mr. Passy. So you have given us a lot of insight. I'm pretty sure this is going to be very helpful, and we have to really get this information out so that as agencies can try, certain departments can try, especially the human resource part. But I want to say this before Alex comes. Gambian taxes are collected. I don't think we have a lot of laws in place to close the loopholes, because the revenue on taxes are really not collected as they're supposed to. Even the revenue alone, I can tell you, in the instance of Kenya, the tax they don't have any natural resources like gold or diamond or things like that. I did the research on that. Even the tax money alone from the country can cause a development, a huge development in that nation. So Gambia is on the tax, or whether the taxes are going into misplaced priority, or whether they are not really collected, or whether they are not being collected and put in the pockets. But we need to have very strong tax laws in order to reduce corruption. Everybody with a home need to pay their taxes. Everybody should have a tax ID and make sure that every goods and business owners are taxed at the right tax code, tax level. This will really increase our revenue, and it will really cut down corruption. So
I'll add a little bit of that before he comes in. There was a time I released an audio also on that, because that time in my forum where we were talking about area council. So when this is also like last year or before last, I don't remember. They need to have a computerized system as well. In that computerized system, everything is going to be tracked. If an area council is watching over a market, for example, and there are 60 shops in that market, and there's a tariff that every year or every month, this is what you pay for your shop, there should not be any confusion about that. If the shop owner pays, let's say $200 every month, just for operating their shop. Well, when they have a computerized system, even a simple Excel spreadsheet, where they collect the money, number one, from shop number 1 all the way to shop number 60 is all listed. Okay, if collection is done, it needs to be entered in there, and that data need to be reserved. There should not be anything in there. In fact, people can go directly to area council and pay them directly. And same thing, reconciliations. It'll be entered in a computer, and at the end of the month, you can look at that spreadsheet. You can say shop number 15 did not pay, shop number 25 did not pay. You can see who did not pay. And then the ones that already paid, you can see that 60 shops times $200, okay, for the month. If you just go like that, I'll have to use the calculator to calculate that, okay? 12,000. All right, so 6 times 2 is 12, yes. So 12,000. So the computer should show you that you have the 12,000 there. And there should be a bank deposit slip. There should be corresponding bank deposit slips that shows that 12,000 went into that bank account. And reconciliation department can pull that bank account online and be able to match and reconcile and say, yep, they collected everyone's, and every single penny of that actually went to the bank, not into somebody's pocket. If they do that and reconcile everything like that, we should miss anything from tax collection for whatever tax collections they are. All tax collections need to be computerized, and we need to be able to track them. We need to be able to reconcile them all. And that will keep Gambia's money in Gambia for Gambian people, not anybody else, because nobody will have the opportunity to go buy a new car or build a brand new house that you don't own, because all the loopholes will be closed.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for all that insight. Alice, it's your turn. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've been waiting. You are very much passionate about this anti-corruption thing. I mean, this has been a voice that you've been on for the longest. Give us what we need to hear, because I'm pretty sure we need to learn from you.
You mean it's my second name?
kind of.
You know, sometimes people think I'm the only person fighting against it, because I don't know. But definitely, what Mr. Ceesay said is a good idea, and as a whole, that's the job of the anti-corruption board. That's why we pushing that since at the beginning of Barrow's government to make sure that the anti-corruption board come. So now I just lately hear that they are pushing very hard to make sure that it comes, but it's even very late, because it's the most important thing as a poor nation, for example.
Okay, Alice, let me just interrupt you one time. I have seen one of our president's media sister Ami Bojang just posted something that about the corruption they're watching. It says that this is why the cabinet has approved a single treasury account to curb corruption. Already, the anti-corruption bill has been presented to the National Assembly from the president's. This is from the president's office. Sister Ami Bojang Sisoko just posted that on our chat.
I heard of it, that they are pushing very hard. It's nice when we have it.
So this is a great note.
It's a great move. We've been fighting that since 3 years back. But because it's the most important tool, especially for a poor country like Gambia. I mean, the president once said he has the control of certain accounts and put them together in one account. All nice, but you cannot control our corruption, And the thing is, the most dangerous thing is, we are born in corruption, we get old in corruption, we went to school in corruption, we get old in corruption. So it's such a long time sickness that we Gambians don't realize anymore the difference. You understand what I mean? That's the danger in it. If somebody is doing corruption, for everybody's eye, is a normal thing, because he knows nothing different. So these are the things we have to change, the mentality. Sometimes I used to laugh when we say Gambia is 90% Muslims. I used to say, okay, if you take out the correct Muslims, then maybe you have only 10%. You know what I mean? Because we are not practicing it even, being a Muslim, to be real, to give correctly, to be fair. If you go to mosque, it's full. But on the other hand, you ask yourself, why do we have such a corruption nation or corrupted nation? So what do the people believe in? Because if you say you are a Muslim, you have to practice according to it. Even if you are here in Europe, you have to be a Muslim, you have to do it according to the book. So that means all these people are fake, or I don't know. Because normally such things should not happen in the Gambia. We are 90% Muslims when we say that. I'm very proud of it every time. You understand? So when we talk, I come back to you, Mr. Ceesay. These are points you brought up. They are very important. And exactly that's how I wish the anti-corruption board work. That is also, that's why I used to say it's the best instrument to save guard our economy. You understand? Look at, since Barrow was there, how many millions? Just imagine. We're talking about billions. Aid, loan, on. We got within this period. So one would say then there will be no program here. I know most of the things, they use it for projects like roads and things like that. You know, when I tell people corruption, when you have it in the government, it's just like you holding water with a basket. Some people used to laugh. Yeah, but that's
I'm
the
laughing
real
now.
meaning. Yeah, you see, because that is exactly that. Because there is no need. I have aid or loan from outside when I cannot control the last cent of it. You understand what I mean? We have such a nation. There are a lot of loopholes. It starts already when somebody says, "I'm going to buy cars for the department." So when somebody says that, you have to ring the bell. Or I'm going to buy or build a store for the people. You have to ring the bell. You understand? So, and we used to see the corruption daylight because, as you said, Mr. Sawaneh, everybody knows the salary of the Gambia. Or who said it, Mr. Ceesay? Everybody knows the salaries of the Gambia. Even if you are a managing director, people can know what you are, and especially when you have 4 wives and 10 kids. So normally your salary is,
4 wives is more money.
your salary is enough just
More
to feed
women,
them.
more money.
Yeah, because we know that it's a poor country, we cannot pay such high loans. So, but for people, it's very normal to see somebody receiving $2,000 and building a villa somewhere. You understand? Because people are not informed. As I told you, we born in corruption, we wake up in corruption, we get old in corruption. So it's too long in Gambia or Africa as general that is a normal thing. I mean, you have here also corruption. These people, I used to tell them, in Africa we do it daylight. You people do it night, you know. So they used to laugh, you know. But there is also corruption, not as many as Mr. Ceesay said, not as worse as in Africa. You know, for us, that is the problem. And Gambia have a problem. Has a problem. I used to say that, you know, we have a lot of people coming out of the university, you know, people with degrees, PhDs, and so on. And in Gambia, if you have these things, you're only heading to one place. Where? To the government to employ you. You understand? That's why we were talking about the curriculum of the Gambia to try to change it and you know, and reform it, because we cannot live like this. So what do we do? We can only write and talk. I used to say that too. We can only write and talk. So in the part of skills and so, we are paralyzed. We cannot do nothing. So you want to build a country, you need to develop this nation. Look at now, any contract we have to call people from outside, while we have people from the uni or other places. You know what Mr.
We are
Ceesay
not
said,
using our own. We are not using our own people.
our own resources. You see why? Because there is no plan before. You know, all these things, you need plans and reforms and how to call it, new policies, and you know, you can name it. Mr. Ceesay said sometime we lack of human resources. I mean, I can say yes, but I used to say Gambia is having the best human resources when they are utilized correctly. You understand? We have a lot of people, even here in the West, who are leading companies. They are Gambians. You understand? You have a lot of people coming out of the university there. You have a lot of people coming back to Gambia with their degrees and PhDs and so on. Only they are neglected. They are not being used. Why? Because the HRs, the human resources directors, you said, Mr. Ceesay, don't do their job. To say Mr. Ceesay is the qualified person to give him this place. And when we don't do this, practice these things, it's also our disadvantage. You know, only that I know this man is brother of my brother, I have to give him this place where I know that he is not fit for this place. So whom am I cheating? Myself, the nation, the people, even the person, So people focus more on getting money. That's the only thing. If you go to Gambia government now, you look at people who are really ready to work for their country, who are really ready to do everything, who are ready even to say, I don't need my salary this month, I'm doing it for my country. You will not find anybody. I mean, it's a poor country. That's why poor countries have such problems. So when we talk about corruption, I used to give one example. If you stand in front of your house in Gambia, you say taxi, that's where the corruption starts. The taxi man will come, instead of $2, he will tell you 10.
Especially when you are from Europe or West.
No, that one they will tell you 2,000. So then you get in the car, the next junction is turning a police. You also need something.
I just want to interrupt you. I'll give you a scenario, an example. I was with my little brother, and we went to this store in by that Johnson. What do you call it? By the not Tipagaras. What is this place? Serekunda. Yeah, that Johnson. The turntable. And I went to one store, and I gave my brother the money. And then when we get there, they look at my brother, and then they saw me behind. And then before they decide on the price, they were looking, who is behind, and then what did the person wear. Kind of funny. And then the gentleman started to say that it changed the price. So that was just an example of what you're saying. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then he will drive also and come to the junction. There's a police, and this police needs also something, and he's also going to give this policeman. There's no control. So the line goes on and on and on and on. So to say you want to stop the corruption, one day it will not be possible, because we are used to this life. That's why I said we are born in corruption. And it's a fight.
Yeah.
But the best thing is the anti-corruption board, and they take, for example, a model like what Mr. Ceesay said, because that's the only way you can control the economy also. And then to make sure that you close all loopholes, because we live in Gambia only with loopholes, because our salaries are not enough to have such a luxurious life, and we need that. That's why I used to say that is this fake life. You understand? Also, put many people. That forces more corruption in our society, because it's very simple to see. My salary is 2,000. I'm competing with Mr. Sawaneh. His salary is 100,000. So where can I do that? Only if I take the wrong way, and the wrong way is just being corrupt, just to be also seen as Mr. Sawaneh. These are the problems also we used to have in Gambia, where I used to say, we have to change the mentality also. Take what we have, never try to compete what the others have or something like that. Normally we are a poor country, there should be nobody to show that he's rich. That is fake, And these things, you can see it from the bottom up to the top, because we are having this foolish mentality, because it's a poor country,
Right.
So poor countries, they think like that always, To get money is everything. If you tell somebody now to have money, doesn't mean that you are happy. They'll tell you no, it's not true. Now, if you come to the West, you will see that. You know that the one has nothing to do with the other. Because here you will see people who are millionaires, but you never see them laughing.
Actually, they hide. They hide.
They hide. They are not happy. Yeah, they are not happy. In the Gambia, you see somebody is just having $10 in his pocket.
They want to show off.
He's laughing. That's why the West, they are always surprised when they come to Gambia and see us laughing. Because it's the mentality, But many people think they have to be corrupt, and that is very unfair, because if you are corrupt, and that's what many people don't know, when somebody is corrupt, come with his money and give somebody $10, if this person will praise him like God, without knowing that that is even his money, if you calculate it properly. So normally he has not he should not even say thank you, because it's his money, because this person is corrupt, you know. As you said, one person take all, you know, and others are suffering. Some people go to a market, they don't even know what to buy for the kids. Why? Because the money is not there. Why is the money? It's by somebody's pocket, because it's not going fairly, because there is no control. You know, we can only have this instrument, which is very useful. Many countries are using it, especially in Africa. That Barrow should have started right away with it. I think now his developments are far away. You know, he thinks that he can control it. I know Gambia, we have a lot of loopholes. Before you can control it, you have to close all these loopholes. And that one, I think, Barrow alone cannot do it. You need this board. It's the best instrument so that we can start to see the fruits of our economy. You know, because we don't produce, we can only import. And that's where our money is also. And that is also corruption. Why is Gambia not producing his own things like before? Because there are lobbyists, corrupt people who always want to fill their own pocket. That means they always try to make the Gambians relax. They import to fill their pockets. That's why many Gambians don't do anything where we can do everything. Even our onions, before we used to have our groundnuts, we used to have our own oil, GPMB. We used to have our own shops, you know. I don't know whether you can remember this. At
Right.
Saro.
Right.
You know, because we are having everything there. But these lobbyists, they try to make Gambians very lazy because of their own profit. So now a Gambian is only depending on import. That's why about this corona disease, our problem is not the disease, but our problem is going to be what we are going to eat. You understand what I mean? Because everything we eat is imported, and now the whole world is having problems with borders or import, export. You know, that's where I'm thinking about Gambia, because we are not prepared. We are too lazy the last years that we don't even produce our own onion. You know what I'm saying? So that's the danger.
Yeah. All right. Very good insight, Alex, for that. I know you are so passionate, but we'll continue this discussion on corruption. Is never. You can talk it from now up to tomorrow. For next year. But these are a few things that before we wrap up, because we come into 1 hour and we don't want to exhaust our viewers. Corruption. A takeaway on this is that in order for us to do away, we cannot eliminate it, but to reduce it to the point that it can bring us national development and growth, we have to look into salaries. To be quite honest, our salaries in the Gambias, they're very low. What is gonna $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 is do for a family? A family of 2, 3. I mean, we're talking about the National Assembly need to get together and look at the salary and then try to come up with a plan. Certain hours if they cannot pay by hourly, please let them come with a plan to look at the salary and let the salary justifies the feeling. I mean, like the consumption of people. Because if you have a household of 3, definitely $5,000 is a month at any level of work. It doesn't matter. It cannot feed any family. A bag of rice is $1,200 to $300. A bag of sugar is another 1,000. The logistics, traveling to the kids, taking the kids to school, buying fish money. Okay, at least $300 is you will pay that for fish money every day. I was in the Gambia last year. Okay, just to have a fair meal in the house. You're not talking about medical expenses. You're not talking about all these things. And I don't think even there are medical insurance, even allocated to employees in the Gambia. So these are all logistics that we, our lawmakers need to look at. Okay. So once we try to, work on the salary situation and try to cut on spending on other areas, that will help, curb the corruption a little bit, bring down the corruption. And also, we're talking about corruption, but there is a thing in the West that they call lobbies. Lobbying. The lobbying is another form of corruption, but in the West they make it look nice. They make it look like it is legal. I mean,
It's
of course,
another
it's
word.
legal over here in the United States, but
Sometimes
it's
it's,
the same concept of corruption. You do me a favor, I do you a favor. Like if Alice, if you are a lawmaker in Washington D.C., I would I would put money in your campaign. So the areas that of my concern, you would have to really in return, kind of help me there so I can get some of my businesses or some of my agendas across. So this is
I know.
legally allowed in the US and other places, but and it's really a type of a corruption.
It's also
It's
corruption.
really kind of type of a corruption. We have to really
Yeah,
accept that.
because
But
that's why I used to tell them they
right.
do it night
but
time. We do
but
it
then
daytime.
it should be on in the hands of our lawmakers to see what is legal and what is not. But in the situation with the West, they are upfront with it. They report it. They report that okay, I'm putting I'm a super PAC putting this money into this campaign, and then everybody is visible to see it. But the issue that we have on our end is that things are not reported. The corruption are done under the table, so nobody know the magnitude, the size, and then the
Yeah,
effect of
yeah.
it. So that's why we
But
need
you
really
have
a
to control
control.
it.
And then other thing is we have to be patriotic when it comes to Gambia. If we are patriotic, we will look out for our country. That way, we can even curb the corruption. Because if you are patriotic about your country, you put your country first. Definitely, corruption you would really fight your corruption from you within. But if we are
Yeah.
just looking at our self-interest first, we won't be able to handle it. So everything starts with us.
Mm,
I mean, we can point
mm,
finger to left and right, to elected officers, to our government,
mm,
folks. But we, the citizens, should take a responsibility. If we don't encourage corruption, the police officer would not ask us money. If we are not giving police officers money or immigration officers to get our papers processed fast, we would not. They would not. They would not be encouraged to put us in front of the line. So we have to do our own part as citizens. And finally, we have to, also look into the gifts that our elected officers and civil service receive when they travel overseas and other places. Yeah, I mean, if somebody comes to you and say, "I give you a gift," the National Assembly should come with a plan. How much gift should the president or the vice president or the ministers receive that belongs to them? Should it be $100? Should it be $1,000? The rest of those gifts supposed to go back to the National Assembly, and then let them assess where to allocate those funds. I shouldn't travel as a minister to another country and receive $50,000 and think that is for me. I'm not there on my own mission. I'm there on the mission of the country. So
yeah,
there
really.
should be a certain standard. Maybe 500 should be me, but the rest should go to the government coffers. So this will also curb the corruption. These are some of the things that we don't look at, but the gifts
Yeah,
that our
yeah.
our representatives receive should be
Mhm.
also, put into consideration. So with that, I mean, I'm gonna allow my panelists to go on their final thoughts, and we have been with you guys for like an hour, and it's been a
Oh, oh,
wonderful discussion so far, and I
nice.
think we all
Mhm,
can learn from this.
mhm.
Who's coming next?
I
Yeah,
just want to add
let Mr.
something
Ceesay.
to what you said. And I remember when I first started talking about corruption back in 2018 in my forum, on my platform, I said all these things that I just said here. There was another time we went into cost of living. Cost of living, when that started to, you just reminded me of that, the salary increase. It's very important when you're fighting corruption to make sure that people are also paid correctly.
Mhm,
And this is where I came up, and me and my team actually, we came up with agreed on a certain amount and say for a start, you don't start something and jump from here from 1 to number 10. You start somewhere and go build your way up. We suggested a minimum. Gambia should come up with a minimum wage, which should be something that the National Assembly should pass. A minimum wage, just like in America, there's a minimum wage here. That anywhere you go, nobody can pay you less than that. So Gambia should have a minimum wage of at least $5,000. That's what we said. $5,000 is a good place to start for one person. And if you have a couple who are both working, each getting a minimum of 5,000. That's 10,000 coming to their household, and they should be able to use that 10,000 and be able to provide for the family. We're just starting with that, and from that point, again, annual increases come, but annual increases need to happen with performance evaluation. So people get evaluated and get paid based on their performance, not because of who has been here longer than the other. Is more about performance evaluation. This is where human resource play part. That's why I said human resource, you know, and just like how I started all this, good laws from our National Assembly first to be able to kick this off, and then you have good human resource department in place where you have a senior human resource director reporting to the PMO, and then under that human resource senior human resource director, you have regular human resource directors for each department. And then they have to help them. They also have human resource managers and human resource specialists. They should be able to control all of these. And this should be an easy flow for the government if they have these in place to help them achieve the next goal, move in the right direction. And also people need to understand that human resources have more power than anybody else. Any workplace you go to, even if the president of the company says one thing, human resources have the right to say, you know what, Mr. President, that's not legal, because human resources go by the book, by the laws and the employment laws. So if we have human resources in Gambia, just like I said, and just like Alex said too, they may be there, they have not been utilized. Well, the ones that are there, I don't know if they know their role. Maybe that's not the question, but somebody's overriding them. In other words, that shouldn't happen. Human resources should have that top power that can tell anybody, no, this is illegal. It cannot happen. And their word is what needs to stay, because it's within the Constitution, and it's something that's a law from the National Assembly. And then you have the employment law. So this is, and PMO handles the civil servants. So there should be employment law that they need to go by, and human resources is the one that's going to help them do all this. So it's very important that people know the role of a human resource in a place is not just because they're human resource, nobody cares about anything else. No, human resources is the police. Is the police in any workplace that holds everyone accountable for what they do. Even the director cannot do something that's illegal. Human resource needs can step in and say, no, it's not going to happen. If the director wants to argue, they pick up a phone and call the senior human resource director, who is in contact with the PMO, and they will override that director's rule. They will say what the human resource says is right. They need to be empowered. People need to know how important they are in holding everyone accountable, in creating transparency in our workplace, and again, eliminating corruption, nepotism, favoritism, harassment, discrimination, you name it. They handle all of that. That's all human resource stuff. So again, like I said, one example, a bad example, in the food safety department, for a food safety director to fire 10 people one day, that's uncalled for. That's unusual. I could not just believe that. I could not believe that happened, and it stands that way. You know, I can't believe it stands that way. It stands that way. Human resources didn't step in and say, no, you cannot do that. You know, what is your reason? You've got to terminate people for a good reason, a good cause. So human resources avoids those things and help the government not to do unlawful termination that will end up costing them money. If I were a part of those 10 people, I will sue that place. They will sue them. They need to sue them, and they will win most of the time. And most likely they could win that case, because it shouldn't happen. So very important to human resources to be there. But at the end of the day, like I said, to salary increase, really minimum. I would prefer to Gambia to get to $10,000. $10,000 per month for every civil servant. But we know we can't do that now. We don't have that money. So we need to start somewhere. 5,000. Then every year people get performance evaluation, which is conducted by human resource department and the supervisor of every department, to determine who needs to get a raise and how much raise do you have based on your performance. Again, not based on anything else, based on performance. Create that transparency and create that accountability in there. Things will go in the right direction, but it has to start somewhere. And it's always good to start that when a new government come in. That's the best time to get rid of all these old people that have been in the system for so long with so much corruption. It's the best time to say, you know what, clean slate. Get every one of them out of there. Bring new people. Let's start something new and introduce the corruption-free government and go from there. That's the way to do it. Unfortunately, Barrow government didn't start there. But again, part of the reason is maybe, like I said in one of the audios I released, maybe they don't have the right advisors that advise the president, you know, for what he needs to do. President cannot know everything. We know that. No president in the world knows everything, but experience do play a part. If they experience, they will know a lot of things. But this is where they also surround themselves with the right people.
I think they have the opportunity to have the talent pool tapped in, because they have the think tank. There was one time the think tank was, you know, idea came in. I didn't hear anything about that. And then you have the asset declaration and all those wonderful ideas. What happened to those?
I don't know. You know, I don't know. Those are things, you know, this is where, again, there's got to be one bad practice in Gambia is nobody follows up. Okay. We know in America, if we meet and talk about something, somebody's got to follow up. Everybody has a responsibility where what you need to do when and by when. So when that day comes up, you got to be ready with your information. Gambia does not do a very good follow-up. They can have good ideas. We give them good ideas and all kinds of things, and they can talk about it. But guess what? Within a month, who is going to talk about it? Who is going to follow up and bring that thing up to make sure that what we talked about is being in place? And who is following up to make sure what needs to happen every week is happening? So these are all part of our problems.
So this is where you think we fail.
Exactly. Part of the reason we fail, and that's why we need a restructure. Restructuring is important. Yes, go ahead.
That's just a part. When you have a lot of parts, then you will have a whole.
Exactly.
These are all fractions. Yeah.
Yep.
That's why to start from scratch, maybe who's going to be the best for us. But anyway, let us hope for the best. And another thing I wanted to say, because of salaries, in fact, that's what I wish for everybody, and I know many Gambians wish that too, because sometimes life is very difficult. That is understandable too. But the problem we have in the Gambia is that everybody who comes from the university or whatever, the direction is always to the government. That means all these employees are paid from the government. You understand? And it's a poor country. The government don't have that much money. You know? That's why we used to say that we have to reform our curriculum. It's a fact, because we cannot push everybody in the offices. What are we going to do? We can only create papers, words. That's why we have a lot of journalists. Words, we write, we talk. Because the government cannot afford to give us any other alternative.
Yep.
So this system is since from the colonial system.
Yep.
You understand?
Yep.
That's why we used to say we have to reform our curriculum. We have to give the youths the skills. One like GTTI, they should have more of them. You know, so that people try to go for other skills than all fighting for offices. You understand? Because these people are even going to make sure that the government have rest a little, because they are going to employ the people after when they finish, you know, in their technical workshops or whatsoever, or production. Then even the government can save money, because then he's not responsible to employ everybody who come out of school. And that is the case now, and we don't have that money. You understand? So if the government cannot employ everybody, the rest are going to stay home without money. So that is also not fair, you know, because they are seeing the people who are having the same degrees like them sitting in offices, driving big cars. but they don't have the opportunity to come in the government. They stay poor. But it's also unfairness. You understand? So that's why we used to say we need to change the system. How it is now, in fact, it's too long because it's the same system the British left the Gambia like. You understand? That's why with development we have problems.
All right.
Even
So
to make a road, we have to call somebody from outside. If we could have done it ourselves and employ the people, and then the Gambians do it themselves. So we're saving money, we're giving people jobs, and on. But that is something you need to start somewhere. Then so there is no doubt that the government cannot pay these people. They even increase the salaries. What they could do, even the money was not there. Maybe Barrow is very nice, but the government now cannot afford that because they did that, and we still have our interest and
no, actually, Alex, it's not the only government that actually boosts the economy, because it has to be the businesses and private citizens and so forth. All of us has to take charge. The government just need to open the loopholes and give us incentives for to invest and investors to come in. And even President Barrow said that now when I met him the other time. So definitely the government just need to focus on that. Like, and Mr. Pasi said what he said also, to make sure that we have government put in places in different sectors a watchdog to make sure that follow-ups are done and ideas are followed up, and then somebody held accountable. But if everything get loose and nobody's overseeing anything in different sectors of civil services, then we're gonna have ideas fall down in the cracks. Just like the think tank and all those new nice ideas that's supposed to be advising the government to be able to implement some of these great ideas, like asset declaration, like think tank, helping all these ideas come from different sectors. And the government should also look into opening a website. I don't know if they have that in place, where Gambian people will go there and post ideas, and also look at people to post their resumes with different qualification. Folks like yourself, you guys could be a very good asset to the government. I mean, they need to tap into the people who are qualified for the job. Some of you guys are here. Some of you guys are here who could actually be an asset to the president right now. So the only way these things can be tapped in, the yes, in this era we can. I mean, the only way this thing can be tapped in, to have an independent site where people can upload their resumes, they can do a background check, they can have interviews online. You can encourage diasporas, and other folks, elsewhere, to come with the talents that we need. And there are a lot of people who are already okay. They have built home, they have built houses at home. They are fine now. They only need to be able to do for their country. We need to tap into this kind of people. And some people want to go home. I believe some people want to have families here who probably wouldn't want to leave the little ones behind, like myself. But there are a lot of people out there who probably are willing to go home and contribute to their country. They need to be encouraged. We are not in dictatorship now. At least we are not in a tyranny situation now. So all these things need to be communicated between the government and then the civil services. We need to have an independent site where all these things will be captured, all this data, qualifications of you guys, and then stuff like that. And then the think tank ability. Even with this online, we can gather a lot of information. But like you said, information without follow-up will not do. I mean, you guys have mentioned a very important thing here. Information without somebody having to carry the big stick to make sure that it is implemented, and we will not go anywhere. So with that, I mean,
look at the anti-corruption board. No, 3 years.
Yeah. So we're not gonna go any further because we don't want to exhaust our viewers. But I mean, we have been online for 1 hour and few minutes. But you guys have really hit the nail on the head on anti-corruption, and I'm pretty sure people are gonna learn from this. All right.
I hope so.
All right. So with that, we come to the end of the program. We're gonna hit on diaspora engagement and preservation of culture later on, perhaps in the next in the next few shows. Again, we are thanking everyone for watching. This is the New Gambia Platform Talk Show. We have our website. We have our online Facebook page. Check us out, and we also have an interactive forum where we share more ideas. We want to thank you guys. We see you in the next 2 weeks. Thank you, Pa. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you all.
Bye,
Yes,
bye.
thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yep.
you for a great contribution. Yeah.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you. Anytime.
Bye,
We're
bye.
all here to help our country.
Country, yeah. Is it? We
Yep.
are doing our quarters. I mean, I'm
Yep.
pretty sure it will be well
What
appreciated.
we can contribute, say.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, bye.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Take
Yep.
care. All right. Cool.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Yeah.
Bye-bye.